Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. We're doing a mobile diagnostic call today on this 2006 Chevy Suburban. Legendary 5.3 liter V8. It's got 225,000 miles. It runs butter smooth, unlike Chevys of today. And customer complaint is his battery goes dead overnight. Maximum 2 days. The thing won't crank, completely dead battery. So we're doing a parasitic draw measurement. First thing we want to do is install an in-series ammeter. Now, on these trucks, they have these side post batteries, which are a pain. How are you going to unhook this while hooking up a meter without breaking the the contact? Because if you break the contact, you're going to power cycle all the modules, and they just might go to sleep. So the trick here is, you want to hook up your TOPDON Tornado 90,000. We'll set it to 12.5 volts. And I'll put the leads right up here on the alternator where they're easy to get to. So turn on the charger, put 12.5 volts across the alternator, and that'll keep the car alive while we disconnect the battery. So battery's now disconnected. This thing's just powered up by the charger. Now we want to install the in-series ammeter. So we hook up the leads to the ammeter and undo this clamp from the metal bracket right here. So now all the current from the charger is going back through the ammeter back to the negative lead of the charger. Okay, that's the setup to measure this draw. What's the draw? Well, here it is. It's actually quite substantial. It's going up to 3 amps, and then things are starting to fall asleep. Starting to fall asleep. .3, 0.7, 0.4, boom, back up to 3 amps. So no wonder the guy's battery's dying in a day. Now, what kind of parasitic draw is this? We recently did a video on the types of parasitic draws, either a classic, I bet that guy doesn't have any parasitic draw problems, but a classic draw or a network draw. So this is a 2006. It does not have CAN network. It just has a single wire class 2 network. However, this cyclical nature means this is going to be a network problem. The modules are all waking up and then they're trying to fall asleep, but someone's not falling asleep and the whole thing wakes back up and starts talking. So this is going to be more of a modern approach. Okay, you can't just start pulling fuses because A, you don't know where they go without any research, and B, these modules are all tied together, so probably half the fuses are going to have a draw on them. So what do? We want to monitor the network activity on an oscilloscope. That's step 1. Then we need to look up an information bus diagram, see how many modules are on this thing, and write them down in the notebook. Only then can we start pulling fuses and power cycling these modules. So when I got here, I inadvertently actually disconnected the battery because my charger wasn't on, and this thing went down to about 17 milliamps. It fell asleep. So I know it's a module problem. Someone's not going to sleep. From experience, I think we did a quadra-steer truck where the rear HVAC controls were not falling asleep. This thing right here, so that might be the first thing on the list. We could, just from experience, we could take a shortcut, either pull a fuse for that or just take the console out and unplug it, and if the car falls right asleep, we're done. If it doesn't, we keep going. But you want to try the easiest thing first. But let's hook up a scope to the network and see the activity. Alright, so I got my meter set up here. You see the amperage is dropping, and the scope is set up on the class 2, on pin 2 data network. You can see boom, boom, boom. It jumps up to 3 amps, and then all the modules start falling asleep. So I'm going to wait a couple cycles, record this. I got the rear HVAC unit out. We can just unplug it. Instead of pulling fuses, it's super easy. Just pop it out of this console. And see if that puts it to sleep. So again, it woke up, 2.9 amps. So while recording, let's just unplug this thing. There we go. Now let's see if it goes to sleep. Nope, there's still something else. Now it's going up to 2.6 amps. We'll give it a couple more cycles. Nope, there's something else. We're still at 2.6, but it's not dropping all the way. It's actually steady at 2.6 now, which is interesting.
Ouch.
So that definitely changed something, but the car's not fixed. Alrighty, so after the code scan, we have 19 modules on this vehicle. Let's see. We have the rear auxiliary climate module. The one that we pulled actually is the let's see, rear seat audio. This is the audio. Well, it's climate and audio. And then there's this thing, that's climate. What else do we have? We have a DVD player. That might have something to do with it. Disc player and video display. That's kind of an auxiliary module that may or may not be causing this draw. Diagnostic boxer saying, let's go, come on, let's be more efficient. So yeah, we just have to go through these modules one at a time, starting with kind of the auxiliary ones. I noticed that it does have a Bose system, but in the topology it could not scan the Bose amplifier. So maybe we could start there. So I love these older trucks because they have an RPO sticker right in the glove box. And looking up the wiring diagrams for this audio system, we have the Luke's radio with UQ7 and Y91. That's the class 2 amplifier. Now that was grayed out on the scanner when I did the full code scan, or we have UQ7 without RPO 191, non-class 2 amp. So it would have an amp, but it's not on the network. And looking up the RPO code, we have the UQ7 right there, but we do not have Y91. So this amp is not on the class 2 network. So all these modules are the ones that we have. We have 19 modules. So that's, the amp is not no longer one of my worries. What else could it be? Let's go after this disc player and video display. Alright, so for this video system schematics without ULT, and we do not have ULT, we do have a DVD player. It looks like the power, battery positive, without Y91 goes to rear seat entertainment RSC assembly. Okay, so let's pull the info fuse and see if anything changes. We can measure the voltage drop across that. Again, all these fuses are going to have some kind of voltage drop, so we could just pull it, and it's the fuse block under hood. Alright, so the info fuse under the hood is right there, that 15 amp. Let's just pull it out. There we go. Set it right there. Down to 2.3 amps. Let's also take a look at the scope, see if our network activity is continuing. Down to 0.5, 0.2. Looking good. 0.1. 55. I think we got it on the second try. And looking at our scope, network is nice and quiet. 55 milliamps. is great. Network is definitely asleep. So we're 90% done. Now we need to look up power distribution diagram and see what else is on this info fuse. If it's whatever the customer can live without, we're done. If they want us to go further and say, you know, if there's anything else on there and they want to re-enable the whatever DVD player or anything else, then it'll be more time. But so far this has been a fairly efficient diagnosis. Again, I stress that the oscilloscope, even though some people might say you could have gotten lucky and, you know, just check all or start pulling fuses, yeah, you would have. Just looking at your ammeter, you could have gotten there. However, I want to see this network go to sleep. That's my 100% proof. I need to guarantee my diagnosis since I do this for a living. If you're DIY and this thing is just, you know, you're playing around with it in your garage and you figure it out, fantastic. You know, you could do it without a scope. But if you're doing this professionally, you have to have a scope hooked up to the network if it's a network parasitic draw. Alright, so looking up power distribution, info fuse, here it is, 15 amp, and without Y91, it goes through the relay block instrument panel. Then, if we have UE1, do we have UE1? Yes, we do, right there. So we have rear seat entertainment assembly. That's with U42 looks like, and this is vehicle communication interface module VCIM. Just pull that fuse out, and if the customer can live without rear seat entertainment, then we're done. I think that's it for this one. We were actually really close. We unplugged the RSA first, but the problem's in the DVD player, which is on the same fuse. Pretty cool. A lot of times these weird draws are caused by these auxiliary modules, you know, fancy stuff, entertainment systems. We just saw that Lincoln with the climate controlled seats, anything telematics, GPS. That's where you kind of want to start and then go from there. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Okay, so on this power distribution diagram, the info fuse feeds two things. I just had to figure out what they are. The rear seat entertainment assembly, not the rear seat audio. I don't know why it says RSA, because the rear seat audio module is fed by the radio fuse. Okay, and that's this guy right here, and that still works. So if you hit source, you can tune in your AM, FM, seek, whatever, and the climate controls also work just fine. So you just have to press this power button instead of this power button. So all this stuff still works. The info fuse only feeds the rear seat entertainment assembly, which is the DVD player, and the vehicle communications interface, which is OnStar. And the shop owner said he called the customer. The customer said, yes, we can live without OnStar or the DVD player. He just wants this thing to be reliable, start every day and go back and forth to work. So perfect solution, just leave the info fuse out, and let's just do one last parasitic draw measurement with the vehicle asleep and the doors closed. By the way, full code scan with the info fuse pulled, we can see that our DVD player and VCIM are offline and nothing else is setting codes, so this truck is happy. Alright, key is out. I'm just going to shut the door, and the meter's hooked up, so I can disconnect this lead right here, and we're going to watch this drop hopefully close to zero. I think it'll hang out at 50 milliamps for 10-15 minutes. But if the network is asleep, it should within a half an hour timeout go down to like 10 milliamps. So boom, within a minute we're down to 55 milliamps. I'm happy with that. Even if it keeps drawing 55 milliamps, it could sit for weeks and still be fine. But I think this will drop down to 10 or whatever. We can keep it on here for a few more minutes, but I'm not worried about this. This Chevy Suburban is diagnosed and repaired by pulling a fuse, and I did mark it right there on the little cover, so no one's confused later on. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.